Ready? Okay. All right, we'll reconvene into open session. And first item of business is President's Report. Board member attendance, we have one excused absence. And the next board meeting is July 19th. It's the third Wednesday of the month.
That's the one that means.
We move back, yep. All right, next item is administrative reports, superintendent's report.
Do we approve the
Yep.
agenda?
We did in the beginning of the meeting.
We did.
Approved it before
Before
closed
the
session?
close,
Yeah.
Okay, very good. To start out, I would like to welcome Luke Schultz from CISA 5. Luke will be joining us via virtual meeting. And I haven't spoken with Luke to date, but let's hope he's
there.
Let's hope he's there. Luke will be providing us with a update on the conversations that took place with staff in May and any other updates about potential referendum. Not really familiar with this platform, so hopefully you're gonna see
Yeah.
Luke here instead of me in just a minute.
Teams.
Oh.
Are you
I think.
There we go.
That's going down.
Okay,
Oh, you're on it. I was just
we are on. Hello, Luke.
Is that
There we
good?
go.
I'm much
Oh, thank you.
I did.
Hello, Luke is
Hi.
on, and I know.
Hi, we have Luke and we have Lindsay Schreiner as well from CISA 5. Welcome. We've got you here virtually at our school board meeting, and any updates you could provide about the referendum would be great.
Absolutely. I will get going on this here for the next steps for you guys. We are hoping that the state budget will come out early August. We have heard that there's like a 50-50 chance of that. So I know everyone is waiting very patiently for that, but we'll have a lot more better idea once that comes out. Then what we will do is we will solidify what will go into the survey. Luke and I did meet with your staff there, which, by the way, you guys have an absolutely phenomenal staff. They were extremely knowledgeable, extremely helpful, kind. They were absolutely great. Not really anything new came out of that. Mainly just maintenance items were the common theme among them. Things that we have already discussed, so that was good. And feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. But mid to late August is when we will schedule the facility advisory committees. They will then assist in narrowing down to 3 questions. From there, we would send out the community survey around October. November, we should get that survey back and we will go over those results. The committee can then decide which direction they want to go in with the referendum. Right now, I think we need to think more of what the tax impact is going to be and not so much focus on, the maintenance needs, just because there are so many and it can be very overwhelming. Come January, then we'll hopefully pass the resolution, and then February through March, we at CISA will be very busy with our marketing efforts, updating your website, sending backpack flyers and things like that. So in a very brief but quick nutshell, that's kind of where we're sitting. Do you guys have any questions, or Luke, do you have anything to add?
No, just to add a little bit to that, the big thing is where the budget comes out is essentially your operational referendum. And we can't really decide what you need for an operational amount until we know what that budget is. So when that comes out, then we can solidify, here's what we need to do operational, which then helps the facility advisory committee say, okay, here's now our 3 questions that Lindsay's talking about that we need to put into a community survey for this fall to go out. And then as we figure out what those 3 questions are and dollar amounts, then we can start putting in maintenance items that fits within those 3 questions for scope to go out with the survey. Does that make sense to you, Jim, and the board?
Yes.
Absolutely. The state budget is going to drive a great deal. It'll drive us quite a bit on the direction that we have with the referendum. Absolutely.
So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now, but when we get that information here, hopefully, maybe end of July, but more than likely early August would be great. And then we can dive into those facility committees. I know, Jim, you're already looking at maybe trying to set up some dates, and I know working with other districts, it's tough with our other referendums as well. It's kind of a moving target, and it's kind of one of those at this point, Facility Advisory Committee, we hope you understand, but we need your flexibility.
Absolutely. I know when we started this process and a few months into it, the talk was to get the Facility Advisory Committee meeting, as early as June. But then as we saw that the biennial budget was not going to be, it wouldn't be passed until July, that's when CISA 5 recommended that we have our Facilities Committee meetings, end of July or August. So as Luke said, we're in a little bit of a holding pattern right now. So, but once that holding pattern ends and we start having our facilities committees, then it will be full steam this fall and this winter to get the word out about what our needs are. Absolutely.
You know, when we were doing
Yes,
this,
correct.
Yeah.
when we were doing this last time, 5-6 years ago, it turned out that the actual tax impact of the referendum was really minimal. And in a couple of, 1 or 2 of the years, the referendum actually didn't impact the tax rate, the mill rate of the district at all. Because of increases in assessments, increases in building. We're in the middle of a very fluid process because the village is reassessing. And we have an unusual situation in that a portion of the village is returning from a detachment that's lasted 10 years. So it isn't.
Sure.
It doesn't affect the school district. Those properties did not leave the school district, but it's gonna be a consumer issue because the taxpayers are gonna see that and they're gonna wonder what that impact is. So.
And I think the shared revenues, which is being tightly tied into the school budget in Madison at the state level as well, that actually may end up to be to our benefit, because if there's less of a tax impact, it's more likely that a referendum will pass.
Right.
So.
Oh, absolutely. That would be, best case scenario, little to no tax impact. And, even if it is smaller, you guys know your community better than anybody, whether or not you think they would go for a larger referendum, and if so, how much.
Absolutely. Okay, so at this point in time, Luke and Lindsay, just review our steps. We're just kind of in that holding pattern, waiting for the state budget to come out, and then we'll be reconvening again in July.
Is this,
Yes, exactly. Kind of the hurry up and wait game right now.
Okay.
is this
Okay.
where I was supposed to ask Luke about the,
Any questions the board has? Absolutely.
when you did your facilities survey, one of the things that was sort of pie in the sky was the potential for some kind of in-house daycare, either for the district or the community housed by the school district. The figure of several $1 million was thrown around to facilitate that by adding on to this building. I have no idea if that's even remotely possible or not, but I'm looking at that as the state and the county and the Department of Social Services has declared most of Wood County to be a childcare desert, because we're lacking in so many different ways for quality childcare for young families.
Mm-hmm.
And if that in any way can be hornswoggled into this, it would not only benefit the community, it would benefit the staff, it would be a recruiting tool for the district. If we're going to attract young staff members who have small children, and they know that they have an in-house opportunity to care for their kids, that's a win-win-win in all aspects except for the cost. And whether you're willing to absorb that cost or not. So,
Sure.
So I guess
And
the
that's-
question, I'm sorry, Lindsay, the question is, I got the feelings and the words from CISA 5 that it just seemed almost too far-fetched for us. But it would be a great investment. Is it off the
Yeah.
table, or is it something that we can still have a conversation about?
Yeah, we can absolutely have a conversation about that. I know right now we are in another district building a daycare and early learning center, 4K center type of deal, which is a brand new build. It's going to probably come in about $4.5 million.
Which is what I was.
Yeah, so that being said though, I mean, you kind of have to weigh your options and weigh what your needs are. You guys do have extensive maintenance needs. You do have things that will need to be fixed. But if that is something that you want to roll into that's certainly something we can look into. Luke, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, just to interject to summarize here, essentially everything's on the table right now that's in that facility plan that we put together, which the daycare was in there, the classrooms were in there. And when we figure out what the operational referendum is and what those dollars are, then what we'll do is we put buckets together of, okay, what is 3 million? What is the tax impact? What is 5 million? What is 8 million? And you can keep going up. And eventually you're going to get to a spot where, yes, this doesn't make sense. We can go any further than that. And whether that is 5 million or whatever that is, then you start putting in that bucket of what fits within that 5 million that you want to move forward with. And that's where the conversations happen with the Facility Advisory Committee. And so looking at that, yes, if you look at a $2, $3, or a $5 million referendum, you're probably doing maintenance. If you want to look for a larger one, then that's where you can potentially start looking at your daycare or or adding classrooms.
there's another
Yeah.
But
aspect,
everything is on the table, essentially.
there's another aspect to this, in that the village has some TIF money that they have to spend. And one of the things that can theoretically be used for is child care facilities.
Mm-hmm.
The current village administrator, who is unfortunately leaving August 1st, has been going around trying to find venues, agencies, groups, schools, churches, whatever, that might be able to make use of some of that money if they're willing to create a site for a daycare. But in researching it, the biggest issue that I've run across so far is not the absence of facilities, it's the absence of qualified staff who are willing to work.
Yeah, that is a definitely a struggle with all aspects in education. That is, yeah,
You build
absolutely.
you build a facility and then you can't find anybody to staff it.
Right.
That'd be the ultimate irony.
Yep.
The daycare facility that you guys are working on right now, is there some way you could send us, well, I'm sure you could, some plans and information on what that actually looks like, and see what 4.5 million gets us.
I think Luke did that for us.
Okay.
And I think it was 4.4 million, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, but I'm talking actual plans of the
Yeah,
building.
yeah, we
just-
put some costs together, but we're not
Was it-
gonna put any plans or drawings or anything like that. That's an architect, and we don't wanna bring in a design firm until we need to.
Oh, I thought it was
Essentially,
in,
right now, all we need to look at is it's a box.
Cost per
And
square foot.
what do we need for square footage in that box, and what's the cost?
I misunderstood. I thought it was something that was ongoing with the district right now.
No, he just
No.
did a cost per square foot and he
Just
based it on.
Ongoing for, price wise.
Yes,
I thought-
just a proposal based
Okay.
on an average size classroom and then he priced that out.
I misunderstood.
No worries.
Thought it was
Yeah.
something that was underway.
No
I
worries.
think you thought with another
Right.
district. Did you think with another district that they're doing?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
They
what I'm
are.
talking about.
Yeah, so that's what, I think that's what Carrie is asking.
Yeah, I'm talking
He
about,
wants to see what you're doing at the other district that's doing a $4.5 million
oh,
daycare.
yeah,
That,
okay.
that's what he's looking at. He wants, what
And I
does that
didn't
look
hear
like?
that.
What does
When we
that
get
do?
to that.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
not
He
us.
just wants to see
He
what-
wants to see what
Yeah.
does that provide at
Yeah.
that cost?
what their plans look like.
Yeah, that's what he was
Yep.
asking.
Is that something that you can send to us or share with us or not?
We could share you what we're doing in another district that we're building a daycare. I think it might be a little bit larger than what you guys are looking for, but it'll give you a good idea of, for $4 million.
Okay, so
what
I
we
did hear
get.
it, right? I just maybe didn't ask it clearly.
I
worries.
got it.
Well, because,
All right.
to see something, a visual is
Yeah,
always
visual.
much
Visual
more,
is
and,
it's tangible. You can-
Right.
You can touch it.
Leo, back to your comment about the TIF district, I'll get in touch with Boz this week.
Okay.
I don't know to what degree the communication has happened with stakeholders. Hasn't been a lot with me. So I will reach out to him and see.
Hopefully I'm not miscommunicating that, but the last conversations I had with a couple of village board members, they were actively looking around the community because the TIF money, it's on a clock, it has to be spent.
Correct.
And
Here we are.
here we are.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, Betsy might have more information, I mean,
Yeah,
because
I'll reach out
Boz
to
is
them.
gonna, was
Yeah,
it end of
absolutely.
August or something like
August
that?
1st.
August first, or
Yeah.
beginning of August, so.
I'll reach out to
Betsy might be
Betsy as
the,
well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If I've misconstrued that, my apologies in advance, but that was my understanding. So,
It's not a TIF rebate where we're given money, it's money that's earmarked, it has to be for a childcare facility. Do we know?
it's money that, I don't know if it has to be specifically for a childcare facility, but there's apparently a short list of suitable uses within a geographic area that has to be spent for. So,
And that's one of them.
I
maybe
think it'd
the
be for
school,
existing as well.
I mean, if there's
But I'll talk to
a
Betsy.
geographic part to this, as TIF districts usually are, they're a
usually, yeah.
specific area.
Yeah.
And we may not be in the area, I don't know,
That's true.
I don't know.
I'll talk to Betsy and, yeah, a few
Okay.
others. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any
Jim, do you want me to just send you the plans that we have for our current project with the Early Learning Center?
Absolutely, I'll share that out with board members.
Okay, and just keep in mind, these numbers are a bit fluid because you don't know what you're going to run into. If it's a brand new build, unsuitable soils, if it's, an existing building, asbestos, things like that.
Absolutely,
But
yeah, every
I-
place is different.
Yeah, it just
Absolutely.
gives us kind of an idea.
Yes, yep.
Absolutely.
So let me,
If we cut it in half, we're sure it's gonna be 2.25 million.
Exactly, of course. It's like getting a sub at Subway, it's half. Yeah.
You get a 6 inch as opposed to
Alright,
12.
I
Exactly.
am
Yeah,
sending that
Sounds
over to you right now.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Luke did have to hop on. He had to hop on another meeting. But is there anything else that I can help you guys with or any other questions that you have?
Other questions about the timeline or what we're doing right now or, okay. The facilities committee, I think I emailed, again, maybe 6 weeks ago that we have it established. We have everyone in
Yes.
contact. They're just waiting for that first meeting. So we have it
Yep.
established.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we want to get going on this as quickly as you guys do. I mean, the sooner we can get a jump start on things, the sooner we can get our answers. So hopefully, cross your fingers that by August we have a better understanding of what we're going to be dealing with.
And if parents or community people who have caught wind of the possibility ask questions, I guess the best answer we can give them is news at 11.
Depending on what their question is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Right,
you know,
yeah, I
there isn't a
mean,
whole lot we can-
exactly,
There's
and,
a whole lot we can say right now.
right. There are definite, needs in the district, and so it is something that we are looking into.
Okay. If there's no other questions, okay. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Lindsay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure talking with you folks.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank,
Oh,
I plugged her a little too quickly. Sorry. A few more updates before we move on to the high school report. A few updates from the end of the school year. I'd like to say congratulations to the John Edwards High School class of 2023. I believe we had 21 candidates. Is that right? 21 candidates for graduation. They successfully completed commencement ceremonies on Saturday, May 27th, and are now in their next phase of their lives. The 2022-23 school year ended successfully for students on Wednesday, May 31st. At lunchtime on the 31st, students and staff enjoyed a tailgate lunch of grilled hamburgers, hot dogs, and all the fixings on the high school playground. I had a great time with Mr. Ayers and Mrs. Schroda. We were grilling and serving kids, and we helped the kitchen staff to serve and clean up. That was a great time. Following the tailgate lunch, high school students had a field day of outdoor games on and around the track. And on the last day of school here at Ed Hoyer Elementary School, several staff dressed in inflatable cartoon character costumes at the end of the day and were out on the front sidewalk saying goodbye to the students for the summer.
Getting warm.
Yeah.
So that was really neat. Teresa, were you part of that?
No,
No?
I did observe it.
Okay, were there any
Enjoyed it very
cartoon
much.
characters in the audience? No? No? Oh, all observers. Okay,
This is
that
a-
was really neat.
This isn't like those YouTube pieces you see of the dad in the ballerina outfit meeting the middle school bus and
Oh, yeah.
chasing his
Yeah.
teenagers down the driveway.
I-
Nothing like that?
It's along those lines, maybe a little, but
Better
not,
received at the elementary,
No-
probably.
Yeah.
Nobody got chased to the bus? Oh, what a shame, an opportunity missed. Okay.
that was very cool. That was on May 31st. Thursday, June 1st was the last day of the school year for our teachers and classroom paraprofessionals. I distributed staff appreciation gifts to each of our staff members in both buildings in person, thanking them for a job very well done this year. At 11 o'clock that day, we held a small ceremony for all staff, thanking the following individuals for their years of service to the school district. Jamie Tuttle, Kayla Dorhorst, Daniel Peters, Amy McMillan, and Joe Hintz were recognized for 5 years of service. Steve Burno was recognized for 10 years of service, and Tim Miller was recognized for 25 years of service to the district.
Wow.
So thank you to those individuals.
I'm
And
gonna go
just to be
ask-
clear, that's every 5 years that you're recognized.
Correct.
Yes.
So some people have been here longer than 25
Right.
years.
Yes.
It was not
Yep, we
one of the,
recognize,
yes.
Not everybody.
On the 5.
Counting by fives.
yes.
Yes, counting by
I'm gonna-
5s,
I'm gonna
absolutely.
have to go over to Edgewater and pick up some application papers for Miller and drop them off in his mailbox.
That might be very appropriate.
That'd be good.
See what kind of feedback you
Save,
get.
save time down the road, just get the paperwork done ahead.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me know how he enjoys that.
I'll get right on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to report to the board that at this time, the district has 4 open positions. We have 2 special education teaching positions, a special education director position, which is on tonight's agenda, and an elementary library aide position. These positions have either already been posted or will be posted this week, and we are actively addressing those. The last thing I'd like to share is a little bit about the current biennial state budget process. In theory, it has been agreed upon in Madison, but has not yet been signed. Unfortunately, many statewide public education leaders are stating that the proposal does not come close to backfilling the zero increase in per pupil revenue which we've experienced as public schools over the last 2 years. Public school districts will continue, their budgets will be very tight under the new budgetary proposal due to the sunset of federal COVID relief dollars, which we've kind of lived on as our increase over the last 2 years, as well as a significant increase in inflation nationwide. At this time, the 2024 and 2025 state budget proposal for public schools includes the following. Increasing the revenue limit by $325 per pupil each year for a $650 total increase over 2 years. This would be approximately, again, somewhat of a fluid number because it's based on the number of pupils we have, approximately an addition of $140,000 additional each of the next 2 years. Again, that's based on current enrollment. An increase in special education reimbursement of only 3.3% increase. It currently sits at 30%, which is quite low compared to many states in the country. There is one state that has 100% Medicare reimbursement. We are at 30%. The proposed budget is 33.33%. Conservative estimates felt that at a minimum, the special ed reimbursement rate would grow by 10%, but it only grew by 3.3%. The budget proposal unfortunately doesn't include any increase in support for the Office of School Safety, which has provided over the last 5 years or so school safety trainings, a digital mapping grant, which we received this year, safety tools for our school buildings. If you remember in 2017, safety film was put on a lot of our public school buildings. That was through the Office of School Safety. And something we've used a lot, especially I would say since December even in our school district, is the Speak Up, Speak Out hotline. That is in jeopardy as well under the current state budget. And finally, an additional bill that's being discussed would provide funding to change fundamentally how our public schools in Wisconsin teach reading. There's a $50 million bill on the table that would change we have somewhat of a current balanced literacy approach to one that is phonics based. And it's based on what the state of Mississippi has introduced down there. The $50 million, if the bill is passed, would pay to retrain teachers, hire reading coaches, and purchase curriculum materials. While the financial impact of the dollars would be welcome, the plan as it stands is not supported by the DPI. Primarily, one of the reasons is because it includes the retention of students at grade 3 if they don't meet the expected academic benchmark. And retention of young students is not fundamentally sound. So that is one of the battles that's taking place in Madison right now as well. Any questions about anything there? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Jim. Next item is middle high school principals report. Donna.
I'm on summer mode, so this will be really quick. The kids here would tell you that we have summer school recovery class going on right now. I have two phenomenal teachers, Mr. Hintz and Ms. McMillan, and that's part of her program during the year. We don't offer, like if a kid failed art, we don't offer those things, but core classes. So right now they're teaching two middle school, they have 12 kids, two middle school science kids that are gonna get recovery and not have to take the class over, and 10 high school students, and they're teaching algebra, English, 2 English classes, 3 history classes, one high school science. So there's about 14 classes going on, about 12 kids. And they're to end Friday. So they come in about 8 and they leave about 12:30. We feed them breakfast and lunch, and then they're on their way.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of work right through breakfast and lunch, so we can count those hours. Besides that, we have weightlifting going on. Max Ayers and Riley are opening up. They're doing a morning session and an afternoon session. They used to kind of go hardcore for like scheduling kids, but with kids working and volunteering, so they can come and go what they want as they want. High school kids, any of them. It's open to non-athletes too, so they can come in and work out with them. Band lessons are going to begin, and choir lessons. They're both working out schedules, and they got a contract, so they're they're working with some kids on that and going gung ho about that. Currently, I am updating handbooks, so it'll come to you in July or August. Jim and I are working cohesively with the staff handbooks and middle school, high school, and then elementary. We're working with Shane to redo some pieces in the athletic handbook, and I want to create a co-curricular handbook that's kind of separate, but they align together. You know, they complement one another, and spend some time with our advisors at the beginning of the year on that, because we haven't done that. They've just had their expectations and their checklists, but I think we need to it's a good time now to do that, I think. So realign. Working on truancy with Wood County, they're providing, they've made a like kind of an alliance group, and they're providing information and procedures, so all of the schools are kind of working together. And then tomorrow we were invited to Midstate, you're going right? Jim and I are going to Midstate to talk about what they're offering. They invited all, which I was surprised, all the state schools like UW Stevens Point, Eau Claire, La Crosse, and then the local schools. So I think the presentations could be a little bit different than last year, but just to keep our communication with them going. And that's it, I'm busy.
Is truancy much of a problem? Has it gotten worse, or is it gotten better, or is it the same as it's always been?
Post-pandemic.
Yeah, to be honest, it's changed, yep.
It's changed.
And I think, I mean, we're in check here, we're so little, and I
Right,
don't have a problem getting on the phone. But I think if we just have some procedures and some meetings prior to, we can get tickets, we can do referrals to Wood County, but I guess I always think that that's not, I mean, I can go that route, but before I go that route, I wanna
Do
call
these other
parents and meet
things.
with them and
Yes.
say, hey, what's going on?
yes.
You know, and do a couple more steps. But yeah, Ms. Kalinsky and I have created some spreadsheets. You know, we send the 5, 10, 15, and I can call, but we just wanna be on top of it more, is one of my goals. You know, because, yeah, even like our Black Hawk, people will say, well, they just missing Black Hawk. Well, no, our kids go to teachers, they take tests, they get one-on-one help, so any class you miss, it's hard to make up,
Right,
right? We all know that.
and I want us to be the school that
Right.
says it's important that you are here in person every day
Right.
and every hour that you should be.
Right. So that's kind of, that's my goal I've been working on. And Wood County they're providing quite a bit of information or resources lately. So they must be on top, you know, I think the schools are saying, help, support us, so
I
it's
mean,
happening.
you know, businesses are saying that they can't, people come to work and then they don't show up. And I'm like, that's why, you know, they have to learn in school that this is your job and you need to be here
Absolutely.
the whole time that you're supposed to be here. So that when they get out into the work
They
world,
need to learn that at home, and then we
Well,
need to reinforce it,
yes,
but it doesn't
we know.
always work that way.
but until we build that
Absolutely.
house out here and become the house parents, that's probably not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
It
I mean,
has,
I have some tough conversations with parents.
Good,
there has to be
Absolutely.
consequences for things.
yes,
Right. You know, we talk about, our high school talk about the senior privileges, the senior and junior privileges. And a lot of people say, you know, and the principals have these discussions too. There's tight expectations for those though. So you'll find when they can, they're a candidate for it, they know if they want those privileges, they'll meet those expectations. That kind of helps us with our juniors and seniors.
Yep.
Reels them in, like, oh, I want that, you
just
know.
like getting a driver's license, that's a,
Dangle the carrot.
yep,
Right.
absolutely.
So, yeah, that helps, but we wanna
Good.
set that plan
I'm
on
glad
earlier.
that we are on it.
It's a point of emphasis, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Yoder.
you.
Next item, guest speaker, Kayla Dorhorst, administrative grad presentation.
I've shared a little bit with our board, but I'll share once again. Kayla's been going through her graduate program to get her master's degree as a principal and student services director.
And director of instruction.
Director of instruction,
Yeah.
okay, through UW River Falls. And
Correct.
Kayla requested she's coming to the very end of her program. When is graduation day? Are you at it?
Yeah, so my program is doing a ceremony next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, so
And she asked for this opportunity to share a little bit about her program, what it's all about with our board tonight.
yes.
So welcome Kayla.
So I guess some of these, I kind of go back into why I'm in what I'm doing. And the reason behind me going back to school is just to kind of keep pushing myself in education. And in this program, as Jim mentioned, that it is a school supervision license and a director of instruction license. So it gives me more opportunities to do things to keep building myself up, helping districts out, or the district out too. So going into it, we were told that we have to do 2 big projects and an ideal school. So right away, that was the second or third weekend of last July. We had 2 full weeks of classes, and then this is all the things that they go through and, you know, what we have to be doing, you know, before graduation, and now this is the time for graduation. So my mind was already thinking like, okay, what can I do to help my school district of Port Edwards or my school, specifically the elementary school, but both of these projects can then be developed into middle school ideas as well as high school ideas. So they're very versatile, but one of the slogans that we use in the program is go slow to go fast. So there's a lot of different pieces. I worked with a lot of different people in our buildings, in other school districts, in the middle school, high school building. I attended the parent organization meetings, getting their input. I relied on my coworkers to help me a lot to build that data, because I needed something on both of these projects to drive what I'm doing. And not only are these projects for myself, but both of them are for who's all here too. I need the teachers buy-in to help make these programs successful, and the students as well. So I would do like informal conversations with them about, hey, why are you here at school today? Oh, because I have to be. Well, no, like, you know, why else do you want to be here? You know, so I guess that's where kind of my mind was already thinking. So on top of these projects and the ideal school that we created as a cohort, I had to I did over 320 hours of ranging from athletic events to I run the youth programs in Auburndale. I attended board meetings, which I've never done in the past before. I've met with Jim several times. I met with Donna and Kara, and kind of just keep building my awareness of what goes on besides being a teacher or in the classroom. So this is the first, my first project was creating traditions to build connections. And it focuses on students, staff, families, and community members on how can we bring basically everybody together. Like, what is our common, we all kind of want the same things, but how can we all work together to keep these kids coming to school? What can these families look forward to? Why is Port Edwards special? And what brings all of us together, either in school or out of school times of it? So, oops. Some of the research that I found, so why would we create traditions? You create traditions, it builds connections between students, staff, and family members. Traditions give everyone something to look forward to each school year. That's something that since COVID, we've been trying to build that up, and I felt like with this project, it's only going to keep pushing those things to keep happening, you know, from year to year. I know the Fall Fest, you know, comes off. We have a lot of, I remember how many did we have this year?
300 something.
It was a large number.
167.
The gym was full.
What was that?
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
I thought it was 300.
300, yeah. I have it all in here, but majority of the things that we held this year,
Yeah.
either as teachers, it was almost 100% buy-in of what we were doing. And for the people events that we were doing outside of school, our average was over 100. So that was cool too to see that. And it gives sense of belonging, boosts their involvement, gives them a purpose of coming to school, and then traditions invigorates a community. So again, kind of since COVID, we are kind of all going our separate ways, but now how can we bring everybody back together? So here is a rundown, I guess, on my first passion project. It looks at the reasonings. Everyone's asked the why, the who, the what, the where, who's all what can happen now going forward, into next year, into the year after. So kind of the projects were, again, driven by my ideas, but then given, questionnaires out to, my coworkers, to teachers, or to the students. So, and if you look through this, I guess you can see the work that has been done. Traditionally, these are what has happened in the past, or what we did this year. The add-ons are some activities that I have started, I guess, some of them I have started here at the elementary school, like the Foodie Fridays, the school dress-up days, the pledge leaders, the book buddies, the Veterans Day activities, thank you cards, holiday cards. Mr. Erdman does a great job with the music programs, Secret Santa stuff for exchange. So those are kind of the things that we are already doing. And then I also did a section of asking teachers on some of the other things, like maybe what could else we do, like Black Hawk time, and you can kind of see that on that last page. So there's a lot of different things that we do here, but what are some things that we can do, even different? And this slideshow then shows that, the things that, it kind of just walks through each of these things that I was talking about. So again, a lot of time, a lot of people, a lot of help went into this, so I appreciate everybody's help on it. But so yeah, that was the essential question that I started off with, and then built from there. And we need each other at it, so I started off with year-round traditions, and then kind of broke it down into what are we specifically doing starting this fall, something new that we're doing, and then other ideas that we could potentially be doing for year-round traditions. And then I went into the different things that we do. So like book buddies, it was the 4th and 5th graders that came down in with 1st grade. 5th graders also did the Pledge of Allegiance on Mondays, which now they'll be doing the daily announcements. So that will be added in on a daily thing. Before school starts, some of the things that we do already, to other ideas. Staff seems to be buying in on the dress-up days, so that was already something that I had to think about before school ended, because last year we were scrambling in August. What size are you? What do you want to do? So what are we going to bring? So that's always something to look forward to for us as staff. So again, looking at what we're doing and what we could do, and kind of building that sense of community, not only with our elementary school, with our staff and our students, but like, how can we involve the high school? How can we involve the middle school? How can we involve what's going on over at the other building to come here? Like, we want these kids to keep coming to school, and it's something to look forward to if they get over there. Like, not being the first time they get over there as a 6th grade, be like, okay, now what, But they have something when they get there to really look forward to. So that is project number 1. I don't know if you want me to keep continuing through the pictures, or I want to see what, yeah, okay. We have guest readers at the beginning of the school year.
That's me.
Yeah.
I have your permission.
Yeah. It's just ideal, yeah. We do bus safety, we use Riffle Creek. I know the 1st grade class, they love going there. So trying to get the other classes involved too, to actually be utilizing what is over there. The kids love the paths, and come October, these are some of the things that we've done, things that we can do. Fire safety, Miss McGrath's preschool reading time, fall festival. Those are my kids, by the way. They enjoy now coming to the events too, so they've been building some relationships with the kids here, so that's nice, because they'd be like, hey, can I go to this meeting tonight? November, what have we done in November? Veterans Day activities, so that's a school-wide thing. We did movie night, Bulletin boards, and on these turkeys, like, in first grade, we do, things that you're thankful for, grateful for. And then we talk about like the, family traditions and things like that, so. December, we're making holiday cards. Then we do the annual concerts, that's a secret stocking stuffer exchange that we do, in the staff lounge. Again, we do a tradition for the, ornaments. We did the bingo, the bulletin boards, trying to get to know each other on it. We had a great turnout for that, that was a lot of fun. Dress up days. Come February. Some of the things have come to us, that was brought back was Opera for the Young. It was something for the, fifth graders to help out with, and they seem to enjoy it. And it's good for the kids to see something different than what they're not used to. Cards that went to a local nursing home, ice skating, another dress-up day. Something that we do. This is the second year that our school has done Penny War. Last year we did it for an organization, and now this year we did it specifically for the Griffith family.
I thought that was so amazing how the elementary raised just the children here $3,500 for Griffiths, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was great.
And they liked it, and they liked seeing, the bulletin board on how it was changing, and,
Yeah.
and the kids got involved with it, and,
It was a big kind of week-long celebration, really,
it was,
right?
yeah.
Was it longer than a week?
No, it was,
About a week.
yeah, it was about a week, well, we got pushed back because of snow days or something,
Yeah.
and then, yeah,
It gave them that extra
but,
surge of energy to be here
Yeah.
during a kind of a quiet time of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see the high schoolers helping as well.
Yeah.
Like when they
Counting
were
the
coming
pennies.
over here and
Counting
yeah,
pennies.
they're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of pennies. I didn't expect this many, They're like, I gotta go to the bank, So it was, they're like, I don't know if we'd ever do a penny war again with all of this, pennies and stuff. So it was nice. Like I said, it was good community coming together. March, this was something, again, out of my comfort zone and getting in front of the students, but they loved it, it was
fun.
it was a lot of fun.
It was.
We are already talking about what we're gonna do for next year, for it, so we have like a 5-year rotation of what we could do for the week of Dr. Seuss, so
Looking forward to
it
it.
was a
And
lot of
that's,
fun.
they
It
love
was.
to see their teachers doing something like
Yeah,
that.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
it was awesome.
It was fun.
As one of my friends, she always says in my grad school, she goes, nothing ever grows in your comfort zone. So if you think of that saying, like, you're doing these things because you do them, but nothing really grows there, honestly.
Right.
So it was neat to do it. This was a donation that we got for glow sticks, so we were already talking about what other things can we do instead of using glow sticks. It was hard for them to read with glow stick, or only certain colors they could really read the words with the glow stick. So we're looking at maybe smaller flashlights or a different location or things like that. So I'm trying to build in more school-wide activities over here at the elementary school. March Madness, Mrs. Lepak started a March Madness bracket. So it went off, it started by voting on books, and then it went like basketball quiz or questions. And then we took our first graders in and did a basketball activity with them. So that was pretty cool. Another thing, Ice Cream Social, like how can we bring in locals that are doing good things for Port Edwards? And this was Liesel's new book and reading about farm boots. People always like free food, so that's a good thing. Guest readers we also had. The second grade had got to write books with the high schoolers, so they came in for about a month and a half, I believe. So I worked with it. Band members came into the kindergarten class to show them instruments. April, we had a movie night. That was something new that I brought up to the people about looking at maybe how to get our families involved, but using the resources around us. And I've done some things with Rogers Cinema, or actually Auburndale does some things too with Rogers Cinema, and they're really good about working with you, and they give pretty good deals with it. So for a movie and a popcorn and drink was $8, and then per person, which is a very good deal when movies are up and over those prices. And then people decided to donate partial of that fund. And then, so it even dropped the price even more, and then that was really good at, we had 100 and some people come to that as well. ABC Countdown kind of gives the kids something to look forward to those last few days of school. We did lunch appreciation, and some of the last week of school. I should have put a picture of those blow-ups. I'll have to add them for next time.
Yeah.
So, something new was like the countdown posters, all the different field trips that we go on, and then some of these other ideas that we could do each year during this time.
So many great things, Kayla.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that the elementary did, people, and I know our teachers. You led a lot of this, Kayla, but I know it takes a team effort, so I'm thankful for the whole elementary and you for all the cool things you're doing for our kids to make it enjoyable.
Yeah, and I did, I'm like, I know one more thing survey, but you guys are helping me driving these programs too. Like, I need your help to help these things be successful. So, and then this is the last one, it's called A Sense of Belonging. We did decide on, it's called Character Strong. It's a SEL curriculum. And based off of that curriculum, there are 9 characteristic traits that are going to be given each month. And then so this is, kind of explains about that curriculum that we chose. What all is included is all those things, which these are the little characters that the students will relate to. And then they rotate every 3 months. So it starts with kind, then it goes to be strong and be well, and then it comes back to be kind, be strong, be well. So those 3 underneath them are like every 3rd month. So those are the character traits that I then developed a program that students will be recognized each month for showing these character traits. So, and how it changes, and then those are all the character traits with it. And these are some of the posters that I created that we'll see. I'm working with Kate from PIPO with the Blackhawk Community Bulletin Board. So the words will be on there. We're having like a staff like recognition part on there. Events coming up. Shout outs to like birthdays, different celebrations, recognition. So again, it is a community that helps make these go. So I guess this is gonna probably be a little harder one to do. Hoping I have all the ducks in a row to make it successful. There are timelines more than guidelines that will need to be followed, just because I'm working also with Callie for putting things in the bulletin board monthly, pictures, and kind of the teachers are on board. Specials, music, gym, and art are helping out recognize as well students, and how can we bring everybody together. So again, this will be done on the third Thursday. Nominations per teacher will vary depending on class sizes. The 3rd grade, I met with them, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade team, and they wanted to do like a blurb that went with how that student met the standard, or that, not standard, that trait. So that was kind of a neat thing to kind of separate them, between the K1, 2, and, so 3, 4, 5. This will go through the whole school year. Kind of the why behind it. It boosts student morale, builds peer and personal connections. It brings a sense of belonging. Students be immersed with the traits in the classroom, school building, conversations, activities, and on the daily announcements. So the hope is that more of these positive things, more of these what they call soft skills are being taught to them, that they're hoping then to in turn show them. I worked with Steve, and he's created a cool little Blackhawk for the students that they'll be getting
Steve
Steve Burnout, yep.
Yeah.
As an award, people have also offered to fund if I choose to do other things with the Blackhawk logo on it as well, or see fit for this project. So
Impressive. Nicely done.
Kayla, you're bringing so many positive, just enjoyable activities and then just positive, just behavioral guidelines and behavioral goals for the building here. And I want to say thank you. It's been incredible work and a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it's going to really pay off for the students in this building and then ultimately the whole district. So thank you for doing this.
Right, we want school to be a place they love to come to,
yes.
Absolutely.
and you're making it fun.
Yeah, very well done. Any questions for Kayla? Is that all okay?
Yes, yep.
Okay, any questions?
No, I'm just a comment, and I'm hoping, and I think it's really important because of the referendum coming up, that we can get more community members back in our
Into the school.
reading program.
Yeah.
And, I think at one time we probably had 7 different women that were coming here to read. I mean, can be men too, so I'm not excluding you. But what a great thing that is, because they go back and talk to their friends, and it's a different,
Spreads the word.
right, it's
Yeah.
not parents, so it's a different part of the community, and that's really going to be needed.
About the last 20 years that I worked at the middle school in Nakusa, middle of November every year, we did a turkey feed. Everybody chipped in a couple of bucks, we went and bought
Turkeys.
turkeys.
Yeah.
When the cooks cleaned out of the kitchen at the end of the lunch shift, I went and threw the turkeys in the convection ovens, everybody brought a dish to pass.
Fun.
It was usually the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday before hunting season started. And we had, it was the staff members, their families, their kids. I'm kind of piggybacking on what Kathy said, if it doesn't have to be every month or it doesn't have to be seasonal, but if the district would host for lack of a better word, call it a community potluck. People don't go to church anymore.
Right.
You used to have civic organizations and Elks, Lions, Masons, KCs, Gowanus, churches, snowmobile clubs, scout troops, whatever. All of the participation in the community social interaction that used to build community
Declined.
is declined. I mean, COVID kicked it to the curb, but it was declining before that. If the school could be a kind of piggybacking on what you're doing within the school, if the schoolhouse can be the shining light on the hill, if the community sees their school as a
leader.
a place of connection, whether you have a kid going to school or not, if the young families who don't have kids or whose kids are too little for school, if the people who are 45 or 50 and their kids have graduated, I talked to a couple of parents at graduation and their last kid was graduating. The youngest child in the family had just gone out the door. And I said that the thing that I remember to this day, when my youngest daughter graduated, in less than 6 months after she left, I had no idea what in the world was going on. I'd see an article in the paper back when there was a paper,
Yeah.
or look in the district newsletter and I'd see the name of a kid and I'm like, who's that? Who's that teacher? Once your kids are out of the building or out of the district or moved to the other school, in this case of here, you lose all that connectivity. It just goes because you go on and focus on something else. If we could find a way to 2-3 times a year even bring the community into the schoolhouse, the surest way to do that is feed them. But,
Absolutely.
if there's a way to do a little program, do a meal, do something along the lines of what you're talking about in-house for the greater community, not only is that going to provide really good PR for the district, like you said, Kathy, but as we run up to the referendum, people are gonna see what they need to do, and they're gonna need to see what they've already done and what the previous referendum has paid for. They're gonna see that we're good stewards of their money. At least I think we're good stewards of their money. I hope they do. And if so, then they're going to vote to support the next referendum.
So you're saying let's get an aquatic center into this.
Carrie, have them draw up your plans.
I'm saying that we find an excuse to do a 10 or 15-minute program on a community activity. Everybody bring a dish to pass and sit in the cafeteria and eat and enjoy each other's company.
Nothing gets people together like food.
It's pretty
Well, I just
simple.
think of the senior breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we let those people, they'd stay there all day.
Yes,
You know, we close down, right?
because they have nothing else to do, we know.
Yeah, and they enjoy it. Yeah.
I hope, not to belabor this, cause,
Right,
you know,
right.
but I think we'll see some fruits next year with this. We've got a couple of meetings planned this summer. We're gonna be doing a muffins with mom next May. We're doing donuts with dad right before hunting season next year.
Yep.
I'm planning some other things with a couple of PTO parents, so we
Yep.
got some things are in the works.
The more of that stuff you can do,
Yeah.
the better the viewpoint, the perspective, the greater community as a whole is gonna be of the school district.
Yeah,
There's only a
absolutely.
small percentage of the people in the district whose kids actually are going here. The rest of them are kinda looking at us like, what are you doing? So, we need to help them see that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Next item, moving on. There's questions and comments from people in attendance. I didn't see anybody that signed up. Anybody wanna?
Now is your time.
No, yeah.
I just wanted to ask, when you were surveyed by the referendum team, whatever, did every person in the school district get?
Everyone was
everyone-
scheduled.
Okay,
I
everyone
mean,
was
I
scheduled.
think there was
A couple that
that
didn't make it.
it just didn't line up that
Okay.
day or something, but
And
everyone was
you
scheduled.
thought that was a good experience?
I think we were all surprised that we were being called in for it, but then once we were in, it was they made them small enough groups and they did a really nice job of presenting. And there was a lot of good feedback, I think, given from the teachers, from our perspective. So it was nice to be heard and nice to be able to share.
What a compliment about our wonderful staff. We already knew that, but it's good to hear it from someone else.
So it was good.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Seek a motion to approve the minutes of the past meeting of May 10th.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Next, consider approval of financial reports. Are there any gifts? No gifts this month. So seek a motion to approve the financial.
Yep. Oh, wait, we gotta do,
Yeah, roll call. Yep, thank you.
Aye.
Yep.
First and second first.
First and
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah, we gotta
So-
do that.
I moved to approve, sorry.
That's what I
I
thought you
jumped
were
the gun,
doing.
I jumped the gun.
That's what I thought you were doing first.
Yeah.
Right.
So a motion by Carrie, seconded by Leo
Okay.
to approve the financials. Now, roll call, please.
Okay, Leo,
Aye.
me, I, John,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
All right. No unfinished business, new business. Consider approval of 23-24 co-curricular staffing plan.
Seeking a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is authorize 23-24 spending at 2022-23 budget levels beginning July 1st, 2023.
so moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next item is consider approval of release of 23-24 purchase orders.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of district HSA contribution for 23-24.
So move.
Second.
Are you approving
Administrative recommendation.
the recommendation?
Yeah,
Oh.
as,
Well,
there wasn't any choices, was there?
no, there was just
No,
the history and
Yep.
then I just put on there what the
Advisement.
estimated cost if
Yeah.
it was status quo. So last year we increased it,
Right.
so, cause we did a plan design change last year, so that was kind of the reason
I see it
behind
Stayed the
that.
same, but the amount went up.
Pardon?
Or
The- The cost of the total plan.
yeah,
Yeah, that goes up
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the recommendation is the 0 increase.
It's part of the discussion, which I love the board like to.
so,
Was there choices on there?
Well, there,
Maybe
it's
we
either zero, no contribution, which
yeah.
we have done over the time, just depending where we're at. You
I
know, when
must
we
have
first
misread
did
that.
this, it was a 255. Did you have a chance to look at this?
I did, but I obviously didn't look at it very well. Because I'm not
There were, yes,
remembering.
if
Yeah,
you look,
that's right.
I'm looking at the attachment,
Mhm.
starting in
Sure.
16-17,
Yeah.
when you went to this plan. So first 2 years, there were contributions made by the district.
Yeah.
There were 3 years where there were no contributions made by the district, the following 3 years. And the past 2 years, there have been contributions made by the district. And after conversing with Mrs. Miller, looking at the fact that there were no design plan changes, and we are staring at approximately $70,000 budget shortfall starting July 1st at this point in time, the recommendation was to not make a contribution at this time. We want to leave it open for this school year to revisit if things would change with any number of things. The state budget being one of them, but at this time, just to not make a contribution at this point in time.
So, yeah, actually, we don't. Yeah, this didn't actually have, I guess, it didn't have there's no additional information with this though.
No, it was basically just, all I shared was the history, so it was really
Yeah.
kind of something. more
I
for your
discussed it in my
discussion,
memo.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
right, you know.
yeah, the estimated cost is what we're approving.
If
Right.
you,
whether or not we want to
whether
make a
you want to do
contribution
that or not.
right now, and you know, the recommendation is right now to hold off on making a contribution based on the anticipated budgetary shortfall.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought we were looking at this 23-24 as what we were thinking about approving, but that's not.
I
the same.
just put, just put what it would be if he stayed, just kind of showing you that would be what it would be, the cost, an additional cost again for
If you were
us,
to do it again,
I
if
see.
we did the same again.
if you were to
It is
replicate,
something we can say at this point, let's
revisit,
We could
revisit
table it
in January.
we could table it.
We- you know,
Okay.
I know, and we can, I would table till January. That might be a good time too.
This is being repeated based on somewhat last year's agenda, as many agenda items are done. I believe this was done probably in June of last year.
It was
So-
because, and that was, biggest reason was because we had that plan design change and we felt that it was something we
Right.
needed to do to kind of help with that change in the plan.
I'll withdraw my motion and ask that it be tabled.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay. Do we wanna say tabled until certain months? Do you wanna say January or February?
Well, Table it until such time as we know what the budget is going to be looking like, and then we can make
I would recommend October.
we
Yeah.
can revisit
In October, you want to
revisit
look
this
at it?
fall
Okay.
once the state budget numbers are in.
October, yeah.
October, okay,
I would recommend October.
perfect,
Yeah, that's fine.
thank you,
Table till October, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Alright. Next up, consider approval of food service elementary lead cook.
I would like to bring forward the individual Dolores Ballerstein to be our elementary lead cook. Mrs. Ballerstein interviewed this past week with Mrs. Breitrick and myself, and Mrs. Ballerstein is, she checked all the boxes, as I like to say. She seemed like a very friendly, welcoming, experienced individual, and is very enthusiastic about working for the district.
I move to approve that
Second it?
position.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next item, notification of retirement. Jill Whelan, Wyland, yeah. And then notification of resignation, Kara Christie.
So it's a notification, it's not an approval.
That's what I,
Yeah, you don't-
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just an informational, it's not an approval.
No action required on our part.
Correct.
Well, on the resignation, do we have to do any vote to accept her resignation?
It's listed as a notification if someone would like to make a motion, you
Because
certainly.
remember,
The
we
reason-
didn't,
that was
we didn't,
because of
like,
She
get
didn't have a
into-
sign, she doesn't have a new currently signed contract, but
Right.
like Mr. Bina has said, it's rolling, so that we talked about
So
that.
I would,
I'd already put
I would make a
notification.
motion that we accept Kara's
Sure.
resignation.
Second it?
I'll just put motion by to accept the resignation,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Absolutely.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of WIA senior high membership renewal. That's something we do every year, right?
That's, just allows us to be a member of the WIA, so our students can participate in postseason competition, and, it's, I 100% recommend it, and I
No
reviewed.
cost.
No cost, since 2017, I believe. It used to be about $50 per sport, but
Yeah.
because of their advertising revenue from state tournaments, they've waived the fees for every school in the state for the last
Great.
7 years or so.
I move to approve that membership renewal.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next item, opportunity for individual board member comment. We'll start with Kathy.
I would just like to thank Jenny Breitrick for all her years of being president of People. How many years, Jenny? From the top.
Not enough.
was in second grade.
Allison was in second grade, now she's going to be a junior in college?
She'll be a senior-ish.
Senior, okay, so that's a long time,
Yeah,
and thank you for all of those years. I mean,
I'll
that's.
still be around.
And I did attend the four-year-old kindergarten graduation, which was really cute. It was very hot because it was not air conditioned in the gym, but they did a really nice job. That was fun. And then the orchestra concert that was here, Mr. Erdman had a few weeks ago. That amazing to see what those young students are doing with the orchestra
With the strings.
instruments. Yeah,
Yes.
string instruments. So good things going on. We just keep them all going.
Okay.
I don't know. Lot of good information tonight. Very nice presentation that Kayla gave us. That was nice. We didn't really get much of an update on the referendum, but at least we kind of have that in our heads that it's moving forward. And I'm anxious to see what $4.5 million gets us.
I've got her email. I'll send it to you.
And I guess without having, as much activity here with students not being fully in here, can't talk too much about student representatives or anything like that, but enjoyed the weather. It's been good.
Neil.
I'm gonna piggyback on what Jim said during his portion of the meeting, since we've repeatedly visited the topic of state budget and state school aids. the package currently on the table is being advertised by both parties as bipartisan. But there's a fundamental disconnect with what we've seen so far, as you alluded to. What the public, I've said this before, I will continue to pound the drum every chance I get. We're trying to fund two separate school systems in this state. We have a public school system that we're part of, and then there's a private school system that has about 52,000 students in it, statewide, in some 340 or 370 different schools of one sort or another, parochial, private, academies, whatnot. The taxpayers fail to grasp that every penny of voucher money that our legislature allocates to these 52,000 kids comes out of our pockets. There is a provision in the original voucher law which says that local school districts must tax their constituents for the cost of all of the vouchers that come out of that particular area. If we have 10 Port Edwards kids who are attending a public school or a private school somewhere else, the vouchers that they receive from the state come off the top of the money that you pay in taxes in this district. The private and parochial schools like to advertise that come to XYZ school for free. It's not free. Nothing's free. You know, there is no free lunch anywhere for anything. And it's a misnomer, and it's inappropriate to call it that. Jim alluded to the 3.3% increase in special education funding. According to the Senate, or including the State Fiscal Bureau, the nonpartisan group that runs the financials for all legislation that comes out of our state legislature, Senate Bill 330 would increase the private K-8 school choice funding by 13.1%. It would increase the private school choice 9-12 funding by 32.6%. It would increase private school special needs vouchers by 12.2% and independent charter schools by 18.6%. And we get what's left. I'm sorry, this is an attack on public education. And I have believed all of my life that public schools are the linchpin of our society and our community. And in a small town like Port Edwards, this school district provides a major portion of the identity of this community. And if it goes, the community goes. And the stronger we are, the stronger the community is. And we can't do that unless we're adequately funded, and our legislature doesn't get that. And I will continue to harangue everybody I can lay my hands on with that message every chance I get. So, sermon's over.
Thank you.
Well said. Alright. Guess I would just like to thank Kayla for her presentation. Great to see so many great things going on in the school. And I think that's what makes us unique here in Port Edwards. It's a connection between the staff and the students. And that's just wonderful to see. And I guess that's about all I have. Our next meeting is July 19th. Did we set the August one?
We didn't.
Didn't yet.
is, the second is the 9th.
The 9th?
Is that okay,
I
August
think
9th?
so.
We're gonna go with the
Do you want,
second.
do you wanna bump the August meeting back too in case there's last minute
Hires,
staffing
we
things?
could, the 16th.
I mean, I'm just saying, if somebody
We do the
resigns at the last minute, then we have to
That
fill a
would save us an
position.
emergency meeting.
Yeah.
Well, there's always the option that too, you know.
Well, yeah,
Set
you could
to
always
August.
call
What
a
about
special
our
meeting if we-
all our handbooks though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
well,
then
we should have them ready by July, don't you think? 19th, or no?
Yeah,
Okay,
July is 19th.
That's a month.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would prefer to have August 9th?
we can
you
have
don't
them
have
done.
the code of conduct, that's the only thing that you'd have to do.
Whatever.
That's what I'm worried about, cause they'll have to be signed and
So you almost have
uploaded
to
and we're doing the
have- you almost
forms.
have to do it in July because football
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
first week of August.
So we
Okay.
can have the activity code,
Yeah,
July,
those
rest
at
in
least
August.
2, yep.
so those dates should work, I think.
Okay, so August 16th.
August 16th.
Yeah,
and
July
July
19th.
19th.
August 16th, okay.
Alright. With that, seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We are adjourned.
No, we gotta vote.
No, actually,
Oh,
there's no vote
you did
for adjournment.
Yep.
Oh,
You
really?
don't need a vote for it.
You do not? Just the-
Unless you wanna stay and we can
No, I
have some more
just,
fun.
It's
you
my
know.
call. I